Alton Towers is a gargantuan of a theme park with attractions spreading through extensive grounds. It really can be a great idea to stay over and do 2 days to get the most out of your trip to this very special place. And maybe because it clocks off around 4 o'clock every day, a lot earlier than its international peers. Alton Towers has offered on-site accommodation for 30 years now, with the Alton Towers Resort Hotel opening in 1996, which now offers some very cool themed rooms, especially if, like me, you're a big fan of bears. Splash Landings is home to the water park, with a tropical fun theme that gives Pat Butcher on vacation vibes. Who doesn't love waking up next to a pineapple-shaped lamp? There's also CBeebies Hotel for younger kids. And then Enchanted Village, which has 3 factions, from the hobbit holes in the middle of the offer to the luxury treehouses at the high end with private hot tubs. And today's video, unfortunately for me, we're checking into the Stargazing Pods, literally a bed in a shed. We'll take a deep dive tour and look at what this budget accommodation option has to offer, including those dreaded shared bathroom facilities. Is it worth the compromise to still stay on site at an official Alton Towers accommodation? What did I actually pay to stay in the Stargazing Pods, and do I think it's actually worth it? So come on then, let's check into the Alton Towers Enchanted Village Stargazing Pods. Hey, this is Stu for Out and Back Travel. I make videos like this one to help you plan your own theme park adventures. If you find this video helpful in some way or find it entertaining, please help me out on YouTube by smashing the old like button and consider subscribing for more theme park trip planning adventures. So let's check in to the Enchanted Village Stargazing Pods. Got a lovely entrance here from the reception. This is the main reception, and it's also where you get your breakfast in the morning too. For breakfast then you get a choice of a hot bap plus a hot drink or juice. Here's the offending article, and it really was offending, it was awful. And here's a map of the village. There is a path to the kind of main ones, but there's also a second row each time which is not on the path, so you might have to walk across the grass to get to your pod. Here's where you'll park your car, so the car parking is included. If you don't have it on your pass, that's a great benefit of staying on site, as car parking is £15 per day, which is extortionate. And outside in the middle of the pods you have the picnic area. And here's some telescopes so you can do the stargazing. Surprised I've not put a queen up on the front of those, but it'd be Merlin. And we stayed in Lodge 876. They are very basic buildings, they're just literally sheds. Even though they're quite close together, you couldn't really hear our neighbours. Everyone was being quiet and respectful. Taking a run up here. It's going to be the quickest tour ever. So let's go through the star curtains. You have 2 single beds in the front here, and then a double bed in the back with a slight partition. Obviously got a lovely vaulted ceiling from the shape of the pods. And let's have a look. This is the main boudoir in the back. Got a lovely constellation map there of the sky. You can have a fun game of which rides will be closed tomorrow. And there's some hooks to hang your coats. This is a look at the single bed. There is a little storage underneath, and everyone gets a plug. You have to bring your own alcohol to cope, that's not supplied. And there you can see you've got a single plug and a single USB A type slot a little shelf to charge your phone. There's a bin to put your mucky litter in. And on this side we have a lovely radiator. Well, that's a towel rail, isn't it, really? Look at the lovely curtains. Again, you can spot some more stars. Usually you don't want to have a look at what's on the hotel curtains, I guess, but this was the exception. And there's a little QR code if you need help. And here's a look at the back of the room. So the bedding, so your duvets and pillows are provided, but you don't get towels. You do have to bring your own towel. And the double bed has a double socket and 2 USB-As. Let's take a look at the shared bathrooms then. So as you can see, there's some toilets here and lots of benches to get changed. There's some hair dryers, kind of worktop area around the sink, lots of mirrors. Let's have a look inside one of the shower cubicles. So it's kind of like wet room style, so everything on the floor gets soaked. It was actually really clean, but you do have a bench to kind of put your towel and your bag on so it doesn't get wet while you're showering, and your change of clothes, of course. So it's all nice and private. Everyone has their own cubicle, and like I say, it was immaculately clean, to be fair. And we stayed during Scarefest, so it was busy, and definitely in the morning there was a kind of rush around those breakfast times when you think everyone's getting ready to get to the park. It was quite bustly, but we didn't have to queue for the showers or the toilets. And here's a quick look at the accessible shower, so you can see a lot more kind of room and to get ready if you need it. So how did we find our stay then? As we checked in late, the reception for the Stargazing Pods was actually closed, so we had to check in Enchanted Village. So not too bad, but quite a walk from the car park. So that might be where you need to check in if the reception is closed, just so you're aware. Checking in the dark was an interesting challenge to find our hut. We had to use our phone torches to locate the correct number. So again, something to think about if you're arriving late. Make sure you can have some light to get to your room. The accommodation is very basic. There's also a lack of storage for any bags, so you're basically sleeping with your bag at the end of the bed. There's a little room underneath the single beds, but this was another challenge during our stay. As it was October and a bit rainy and damp sometimes outside, we found the floor got quite grubby and quite wet, so it almost needs like a little welcome mat on the inside to help you keep this a bit tidier and a bit drier. The shared bathrooms were actually completely fine. They were very clean and there was ample toilets and showers available. The breakfast was just plain offensive. The heated pre-packed BAP was just awful, and the coffee was really low quality. I think this is stingy compared to the breakfast buffet you get if you stay in any of the other Alton Towers on site accommodation. Unfortunately, the breakfast at the hotels, which used to be the highlight of an Alton Towers stay, has really degraded in quality over the past few years, and they've made decisions like taking the coffee machines away at breakfast to force you to use the Costa Coffee outlet in Alton Towers Hotel, which is just really mean-spirited. Also, I wish Merlin offered a price guarantee for booking their accommodation. There's nothing more frustrating, especially for someone who's a planner like myself, who likes to book well in advance, to then see a flash sale, like sometimes even the week before we're about to go, and the accommodation is hundreds of pounds cheaper. And this has happened to us so many times when booking stays at Alton Towers, which for me personally is the main reason why I've stopped booking on site. And we used to stay a good 4 or 5 times a year. Which brings us to the what did we actually pay then? So we paid £213 for 3 people on an October Saturday during Scarefest, working out at £71 per person. It's worth saying that's with a Merlin Holiday Club discount, which we get by being Merlin annual pass holders. And I've got to be honest, I don't think it's worth that. I wouldn't want to pay more than £50 per person, and really it's even pushing it at that level. I find personally the pods are just a little too basic for what you're actually paying. They aren't well insulated and they're only accessible from a grassy path, so it's just not really practical with the Great British weather. There's also not a lot of thought inside the pod going into where you store your luggage, which doesn't make them practical really either. Although this offers a budget-friendly accommodation option at Alton Towers, I'd strongly recommend, if you can, just stretch that budget a little bit further and go up to Enchanted Village, Splash Landings or the Alton Towers Hotel, as you get much more value for what you're actually paying. Staying over at Alton Towers adds a lot to the experience, especially if it's your first time visiting or the park has later opening events like Scarefest or fireworks. So I'd always recommend staying on site over staying off site if you can afford it. Would I compromise and stay in the Stargazing Pods again though? I don't think I would. And it comes down to that personal preference, like I say. I am a little bit of a diva that needs 4 walls and plumbing, which is why I'm checking into Splash Landings. What do you think though? Would you stay over in the Stargazing Pods? Have you stayed here? How did you find your experience? Let me know in those comments below, and until next time, stay safe on the way out and back.